Welcome to The Critique. Today we're looking at a narrative essay about a protagonist, David, who creates a health savings plan to treat his body like an investable asset for old age.
Right. It's all triggered by seeing his aunt's physical decline. A really interesting premise.
It is. Let's get right to work.
I'm ready.
So, the piece uses David to walk us through this lesson on aging. He sees his relatives, particularly his aunt, struggling with mobility, and that becomes the catalyst for him.
It is, and while that structure works, it brings us straight to our first major point.
You're thinking about David's characterization?
Exactly. The protagonist, David, functions more as a vessel for the author's message than a fully realized character with any kind of internal conflict.
That's a common trap with this kind of writing, isn't it? He's serving the argument more than living a story.
He's just too efficient. I mean, it's all so clinical. He visits his aunt, he sees her knee stiffness and back pain, and then, boom, he pivots to this perfectly rational, disciplined plan.
Without skipping a beat.
Not a single one. He's buying ergonomic chairs, he's stretching daily. The narrative it completely lacks the struggle.
The friction.
The friction, yes. And that's the weakness. It makes him really hard to empathize with. Real change is messy. It's full of denial, hesitation, all of that.
He feels a bit like a robot.
He does. So the suggestion here is to humanize him, introduce some real obstacles to his health savings plan, or at least show us the emotional weight of his realization, not just the logical next step.
We need to see him sweat a little.
Literally and metaphorically, yes.
So how do you actually write that? How do you put that friction on the page?
Well, let's take one example. Instead of him just watching his aunt and realizing, oh, I need to exercise.
Let him experience it himself.
Let him experience it. Show a moment where he tries to lift something heavy, maybe a box, and he fails. Or he feels a twinge in his back that feels just like what his aunt described.
So it's visceral. It's not just an observation.
Exactly. It moves the motivation from his head to his own body. That's way more compelling.
And what about the money side of it?
Same principle. The text says he buys a lightweight treadmill. Okay, fine. But right now, it feels like he's spending Monopoly money.
There's no sense of cost.
No sense of cost. So to really lean into that investment idea, show his financial hesitation. Show him looking at the price tag, hovering over the Buy Now button.
Make it feel like a real investment, which requires actual capital.
It requires a sacrifice. Otherwise, it's just shopping. And one last thing, describe the physical discomfort when he first starts that posture-correcting routine.
Oh yeah, that stuff hurts at first.
It really does. Your muscles are screaming at you. So write that. Prove that the investment takes real effort, not just a decision.
That makes him human.
Exactly.
And that actually leads us perfectly into the core of the piece. You just said investment. The whole thing is built on this metaphor of health as financial planning. Deposits, savings, an emergency.
It's a really strong framework, but I think it can be pushed so much further.
How so?
Well, the comparison between financial savings and physical function is the core theme, but the metaphor remains pretty surface level. It's missing a lot of opportunities.
You think it's a bit one note, just health is wealth?
A little bit, yeah. The weakness is that it lists deposits, stretching, walking, but it doesn't explore the darker side of finance. It treats his health plan like a simple piggy bank.
Put a coin in, get a coin out.
Right, but a real economy has things like inflation, right? Market crashes, compound interest. That complexity is missing.
So the suggestion is to weave that financial language deeper into the biological descriptions?
Yes. Let's stop treating it like a savings account and start treating it like a volatile market portfolio.
I like that. So give me an example. How do you map biology onto economics?
Okay, take sarcopenia, muscle loss, the text mentions it. Instead of just calling it a condition to prevent, reframe it as biological inflation.
Biological inflation. That's good. It's the silent killer of wealth.
Exactly. It devalues your body's currency, your muscle, every single year, even if you do nothing. Just like inflation eats away at your savings.
That creates so much more urgency. You have to actively work just to break even.
You have to outpace the inflation rate. It makes the whole process feel like an active strategy, not just a passive decline.
Brilliant. And what about his checkups?
Don't just call them checkups. Call them auditing the accounts. You're looking for leaks in the budget, You're searching for cellular fraud before it crashes the whole system.
And the equipment he buys, the resistance bands, the massagers.
That's where you bring in diversification of assets. You have to explain why he needs both. The resistance bands are his growth stock. They build new value.
And the massage device?
That's his insurance policy, or his maintenance fund. It protects the asset. You see, now it's a balanced portfolio, not just a list of things he bought online.
It turns a shopping list into a real strategy.
It does. It respects the reader and fully commits to the premise.
All right, so moving on to the actual content of that strategy. The text keeps emphasizing that prevention is better than cure. It talks about sleep, nutrition, safety.
It does, but this is where we run into a bit of a show-don't-tell problem with the science.
Okay.
The advice in the health savings plan, it risks sounding like generic wellness platitudes unless it's anchored in more specific, more vivid biological mechanisms.
Because we've all heard eat well and exercise a million times.
A million times. The reader knows this stuff already. The weakness here is that a phrase like daily stretching to maintain joint range of motion is true, but it's generic. It tells us that David did it, but it doesn't really show us how it's fighting back against what he saw happen to his aunt.
So the suggestion is to get more specific, increase the technical detail or the sensory details to really build that authority.
Yes, we need to zoom right in, get microscopic.
Okay, let's take an example from the text. He buys a supportive mattress to protect spinal alignment. How do we make that better?
Instead of just that, describe the specific relief, the actual sensation. Talk about the way it alleviates pressure on the lumbar spine. Make the reader feel the spine decompressing. Something like, the mattress filled the gap in his lumbar curve, allowing the intervertebral discs to finally rehydrate overnight.
That's persuasive. It makes the mattress sound like a piece of medical equipment, not just furniture.
Exactly. Now, what about the exercise? He does strength training to prevent sarcopenia, to counter his aunt's thinned cartilage.
Instead of just saying he lifted weights.
Right. Describe the burn in his quadriceps as he does a squat, and frame it as the muscle literally building a protective cage around his knee joint.
Ah, a muscular cage. That's a great image.
Show the biology at work. Don't just state the action. And do the same with the ergonomic furniture. Don't just list it. Explain the specific mechanical load it removes from his vertebrae.
It changes the tone from a lifestyle blog to something with real medical authority.
Which builds trust. Exactly.
Now let's shift to the why behind all this. A huge motivation for David is this idea that he can't rely on his children as caregivers because of, modern life.
This is a really sensitive part of the piece, and I think the framing needs just a slight tweak to really land with power.
What kind of tweak?
Well, the argument about children moving away or being under economic stress is totally logical, but it's framed in a somewhat negative, fear-based way.
So the argument is, I have to stay healthy because my kids won't be there to help?
Right. And the weakness is that it focuses on the children being unavailable. It says things like, children may move away, or it places unnecessary pressure. So his independence feels like a consolation prize.
Like it's his plan B.
It's his plan B. I guess I have to do this myself, because no one else will. It casts this shadow over the whole thing.
So the suggestion is to pivot?
Pivot the motivation from fear of being a burden to the joy of autonomy. It should be about what he gains, not what he avoids imposing on others.
So how do you rewrite his internal thoughts there?
Instead of him thinking about his kids moving away, have him visualize a future where he can visit them on his own terms.
I like that.
Picture him carrying his own suitcase up the stairs to their apartment. Picture him playing on the floor with grandkids, and, this is crucial, getting back up by himself.
So he's not doing it so they don't have to care for him. He's doing it so he can be an active part of their lives.
It's a much more empowering story. It's not, I hope I don't bother you, it's I'm coming to see you.
It shifts the entire dynamic from defensive to offensive.
It really does. And reframe the tools, too. The portable massager and resistance bands aren't just tools to avoid a nursing home. They are tools that grant him the freedom to travel, to live an active life.
The freedom to have options.
Options are sexy. Safety is boring. And there's a line in there. Independence begins with preparation. The context around that should imply that preparation grants options, not just safety.
That's a great distinction. Okay, let's wrap up with the conclusion. The piece ends with David feeling stronger in his 40s than his 20s, and his future self will thank him.
It's a nice, tidy ending, but structurally, it's a bit of a soft landing.
What's the issue?
The conclusion is optimistic, but it lacks a sense of urgent application for the reader. It's just general inspiration.
A little too neat?
Too neat, a bit predictable. The weakness is that the ending, his future self will thank him, assumes the plan works perfectly. It ignores the fact that aging is unpredictable.
Right. You can do everything right and still trip on a rug.
You can still trip on a rug. So the suggestion is to inject a note of realistic resilience. Acknowledge that you can't stop aging, but you can change how you experience it.
How do you do that without making the ending feel defeated?
Better. And that ties right back into the financial metaphor. An emergency fund doesn't stop your car from breaking down, but it stops the breakdown from ruining your life.
It's about resilience, not invincibility.
Exactly. And I'd suggest one more thing. Change the final image. Instead of him just standing there feeling stronger,
End on an action.
end on an action. Maybe he's back visiting his aunt, the one who started this whole journey.
Oh, that's good. Brings it full circle.
Yes. And show him physically supporting her. Maybe he's helping her up from a chair, using the very strength he's been building. It proves the ROI on his investment in real time.
That's a much more powerful image. It answers the "so what" question. He got strong so he could show up for the people he loves.
It turns the vanity of fitness into the virtue of service. And that is a story people remember.
Fantastic. Let's do a quick recap of the actionable points for our listener.
First, humanize David. Give him a real struggle. Make him feel the physical and financial cost of his plan.
Second, take that financial metaphor deeper.
Right. Don't just leave it at deposits. Use ideas like inflation for muscle loss and diversification for his exercise portfolio. Make the metaphor work harder.
Third, get very specific with the biology.
Don't just say he bought a chair. Describe the pressure it takes off his spine. Make the reader feel the benefits.
Fourth, that motivation pivot.
From fear of being a burden to the joy of autonomy. Frame it around freedom and options.
And finally, the ending.
Make it about realistic resilience. His health is a buffer. And end with that powerful image of him using his strength to help his aunt.
Thank you. To our listener, this piece has such a strong foundation. With these refinements, it can really go from a helpful essay to a compelling, unforgettable narrative. Please revise it and send it back to us. We would love to see where you take it. Until next time, keep writing.